storyboarding, we also did like another level of planning, which is sort of like bringing the storyboards to life in a variety of ways. And it's called pre-visualization, is what it's called, LordPreViz.
Pete was able to use PreViz to help him tell his story. He wanted to turn a lot of his 2D storyboards into 3D moving cameras. He's a very dynamic filmmaker. He likes big sweeping camera moves.
Just at the ideal moment while we were in pre-production, Rick McCallum, the producer of Star Wars, came to New Zealand on a trip, and I was talking to Rick about the whole pre-visualization process, and they'd obviously basically developed their own PreViz department for Star Wars. And so Rick said, look, if you're ever in the States, come by and visit, and we'll show you what we've done. And so a few weeks later, we were in San Francisco and visited the ranch, and he was incredibly generous at just basically introducing us to their PreViz department.
Rick McCallum and George Lucas have been incredibly helpful to him and to the rest of us in terms of just offering up advice with some of these new approaches that they were doing. So Peter really grabbed a hold of this idea and said, "Hey guys, this is something we should be doing." So what we did was we went out and we searched for young recent graduates of graphic art schools and the kind of folks that love film and have a passion for film, maybe wanting to try to make a foray into the world of visual effects, and this could be an interesting opportunity for them.
PreViz is doing about 144 shots from film 1. The workshop and the art department provide the designs that we use in PreViz to build in the computer. The shots that we're working on are effects shots and anything that Peter can't really get his head around, that he wants to take a look at it in the 3D environment, and that's what PreViz is for, to help Peter create his vision.
Peter was very much present in PreViz, and he'd come in, very exciting to him to see his movie coming to life and trying out the camera angles on sets that hadn't been built yet. First thing we did was the whole Khazad-dûm stair chase.
We built basically a copy of Alan's drawing sort of in 3D in a computer and began to experiment with angles and shots. The miniature of the staircase was also constructed by Richard Taylor. The actual miniature that ended up being used in the movie was one of the very first miniatures that Richard built, and so we were able to also use that miniature to plot a lot of camera angles and to plan it. And so, gradually over the course of possibly a year, this drawing of Alan Lee's had inspired and led to the creation of this hugely complicated, hugely expensive scene.
Peter cut out a lot of bits, but it was even wilder. You had Frodo's point of view going down the stairs, and it's like going, running like this and up at him and nearly falling off, all this close work on them. And in some ways, and tripping and falling and rolling down right almost to the breach and being grabbed at the end, and looking over, and then the arrows start coming, It was wilder, but eventually it got to the point where, you got to cut somewhere. Too bad.
And obviously it's a fantastic tool, and it just became apparent, well, that's a tool I'm going to need to use to help create these films.